Welcome to the Somos Sunnyside podcast, brought to you by the Communications Department of the Sunnyside Unified School District. Thank you for tuning in while we share stories about the bright side of education.
Welcome to another episode of Somos Sunnyside. That's right, we are Sunnyside. As always, we have interesting, amazing guests. And today, we have none other than the mayor of the Sunnyside community, the Sunnyside district. He needs no introduction because everybody knows who he is. You know, just hearing his giggle, his voice, you'll know exactly who he is. It's none other than Chris. Do I even have to say his last name? Everybody knows him. Chris Higgins is in the house. How are you, Mr. Higgins?
Doing good, thank you. Thank you for the intro.
Man, it took me all day to work on that. No, I'm kidding. So, I joke about it because, it's you're the mayor. You are, Sunnyside through and through, right? Everything about you yells, speaks Sunnyside. I mean, you've been a champion of this district, of this community for many, many years, not only as a student, we'll get to that part right now, but also as an employee, coming up the ranks, doing the different roles that you've had in this district. And we are so lucky to have you, have people like you, and you're a great example of what Sunnyside grows in this community in terms of human beings, in terms of great people that serve this great community. So welcome.
Thank you.
How's the school year? Is it treating you pretty good?
Treating me good. First,
you're still here, right?
Still here.
You're still standing.
Still here. Yep, still standing.
Probably got knocked down a couple times and you get back up, right?
Yeah, keep going. Hey,
that's right.
That's what we do for the kids.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your childhood, growing up. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? And let's start there.
Okay, so growing up, I grew up off of 12th of Valencia. The house is right there behind the library, right there. And I still live in the house that I grew up in.
Are you talking about calle, is it Santa Paula?
I live on Santa Maria.
Santa Maria, okay. So
Santa Maria.
Okay, gotcha.
And I still live in the house that I
Nobody
grew up
go looking for him. We're not going to share addresses or anything.
I'm not going to give my address, You just see me outside, wave. Yeah. Went to Mission Manor.
Go Mustangs.
That's it. When back then we didn't have names like that. Yeah, it was just Mission Manor.
It was just Mission Manor. Huh?
Yes.
So you went to the old Mission Manor.
I went to the old Mission Manor.
All right. So did I.
With the big old long hallways.
That's
two
right.
big old long hallways there. After that, I went to Sunnyside Junior High. First class to go 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. At where Sierra is sitting now.
Where Sierra currently is. That was Sunnyside Junior High.
That was Sunnyside Junior High. I was the first class to go all 3 years there, from 76 to 79. And then Sunnyside High School. Only high school we had back then, and class of 82.
Class of 82, proud Blue Devil graduate.
Yes, yes.
That's awesome. And so, it's funny because I always look back at my experiences as a student, right? Growing up in the community, and times have changed a lot.
Yes.
Times have changed. I mean, schools have changed. Now we refer to it as the new Mission Manor, but it's not so new. It's been around for several years now. And I too went to the old Mission Manor. So tell me a little bit about what was Chris Higgins like, growing up. Were you, I don't know. I can't picture you. I mean, you're such a nice person that. I think you were like the teacher's pet probably, or I can't see you being rebellious, but maybe there's a side of you we don't know. And so what were you like growing up at Mission Manor and then going to Sunnyside
Mission
Junior
Manor, I was kind of like a teacher's pet type thing.
I nailed it. See?
You nailed it right there. Hey, whatever the teachers did, I did it right there. I wasn't.
You were the teacher's helper, right?
Yeah,
like,
I always helped the teachers. I pretty much got along with everyone. Yeah. Never got fought with anyone in school or anything.
Were they paddling back then?
They were paddling back then. Yeah, I used to, maybe that's one reason why I was so good, because I used to see, people running up and down those big old hallways and the teacher chasing them with the paddle. Yeah. I don't know if I should say that, but I did. Yeah.
Well, times have changed, so it's okay to say that.
Times have changed, yes. We don't do that anymore. But yeah, it was, Michigan was a fun school. I, really enjoyed it. You had the different.
Who was the principal back then?
Mr. Goitia, Daniel Goitia was the principal, and Tom Stefanik was the assistant principal.
Okay, all right. And then you went on to.
And I went on to
Sierra?
Sunnyside Junior High.
I was going to say Sierra. Sunnyside.
Yeah, Sunnyside Junior
High.
And there, my principal was Fred T. Bull.
Wow.
And Mr. Al Navarrete.
Wow.
Was my assistant principal.
Yeah. I remember hearing those names. Actually, our building is named after Mr. Fred T. Bull, right? Our admin building here. Yeah. And then you went on to Sunnyside High School.
Sunnyside High School.
And who was the principal then?
Mr. Lazovich. Mr. William Lazovich.
Gotcha.
And then Mr. Gene Martin and Mr. Brudenkamp were assistant.
Wow, what an experience. Yeah. And so after high school.
Well, but going back to junior high, let's go back to junior high.
Well, let's go.
My freshman year in junior high.
You're in control here. You take us back there.
I was on the committee on getting Desert View started.
Oh, wow.
I was on one of the committees.
You were like a student focus group?
Yes, yes, they talked to us about, different things about Desert View, on, what we wanted to see in that school. Can't remember everything that came to on that, but I was one of the people that, we were kind of like came up with the name Desert View for them too.
Oh, wow.
On that.
Do you remember any other names that were thrown around before?
I don't remember any. No, not really. They wanted. Well, I know they wanted to kind of keep more like with the Sunnyside name. Mm-hmm. Maybe like a Sunnyside View. I think someone brought up
Sunny View.
Yeah, but we really didn't. We wanted to distinguish them away from each other.
Right. So Desert View has their own identity, so that they would have their, and they do have their own identity.
Yes.
So cool, super, super cool. And the thing about construction is it takes long, right?
Yes.
So you graduate in 82, Desert View opened up in 85.
Right.
Although you played a major role in having say on the committee as a student, having a voice as a student, you see this come afterwards, right?
Right.
But you were thinking of the kids in the future, the employees of the future,
correct,
right? And so speaking of that, so once you graduated from high school, what was your career path? What was your work experience? Where'd you go from there?
So in high school, I started working junior year in high school. Started with working in the grocery business.
Okay.
Alpha Beta. I don't know if anyone remembers Alpha Beta.
That's Abco, isn't it?
Abco.
I remember Abco back in the day.
Yeah, Alpha Beta right here.
Buy my baseball cards and chewing gum there.
Right here at 12th and Valencia. Opened up that store, and 29 years later, I was finally called grocery business quits.
Okay.
After 29 years with
them.
Between them and with Fry's. I was with them.
So what did you do there? Because that rumor has it like you were like phenomenal baker or something like that.
Yes, I was a bakery deli manager. With Alpha Beta Abco, I was a bakery deli manager there. And then when I went into with Fry's, they were split, and I was a deli manager at Fry's.
Gotcha. Because they say you make amazing cakes, but I've never received a birthday cake yet. I haven't, I'm not throwing you under the bus or anything, but just have never. I don't think I've ever even tasted them. I've seen them. I've seen pictures of them, but hopefully down the road here, I'll get my own cake, Mr. Higgins.
I believe carrot cake is your favorite.
My favorite cake.
Yeah, I think I heard that one time.
I probably reminded you once or twice, but. So I hear you're definitely gifted in that area. And so when you came to Sunnyside, returned to Sunnyside as an employee, take us through some of your experiences in terms of how you've served in the different roles you've served in the district.
Well, I started off at Billy Lane Law Firm as a campus monitor there with Bob Miranda and Donna Zamorano. They gave me the chance to come on with Sunnyside, and I worked there with them. I really enjoyed working there, being with kids, working with the kids. They were great to work with, And I did that for like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I was Frank Morales and Sixto Molina were with, they were in charge of security. They approached me and asked me about that they wanted to start a district security team. So they approached me, asked me about that, if I would be interested in that. And I said, sure. So interviewed me, and I was myself and Rebel Portillo were the two people that started that out.
Mm-hmm.
And started working with that, and
those guys were the pioneers of Safe and Orderly back in the day, right?
That was it, yes.
So shout out to Frank Morales, who was our director of security for many, many years. Did a phenomenal job here serving the district. He was a former probation officer, and times have changed, right? In terms of how school operates, safety's always been a priority, but it became a bigger priority just because of the different things that were happening across the country in schools. And so, one thing I want to point out is, they approached you because I think you did your job very well. I know you did your job very well, and you have amazing people skills, and you build relationships with people. And I know you really care and have a deep passion for our kids, for our students who we serve and who we're here to serve. And so, it explains it. I know you're humble and in terms of, but that's what they saw in you, and that's why you got on that district leadership team. And I want to shed some light on just our classified employees, just because they are so critical to the success of this school district.
Yeah.
Equally, if not more, so important to the success of the school district. And I've said it before in big forums, little forums, that everyone in this organization matters, right? And everyone has the ability to make a difference with students. And so many times our students, it's the front lines, right? It's the bus drivers, it's the monitors. Sometimes they confide more in our monitors than they do with other individuals.
Yeah, the kids come up to us and they tell us their whole life stories.
Yeah, we're definitely their support systems, right? And so, we have amazing parents that do amazing, they support their kids at home, they support their kids through everything, but we're around kids a lot, right? Just because we spend the entire school day with them, 6-7 hours a day with them. And so, we do take that role seriously. And so you came to the building security team, and then from there, what other roles have you had in the district?
Now I'm doing I'm senior administrative assistant with the security department, helping Ryan Powell out, and still supporting our kids. And
I really feel good about our safety and security, in terms of how we operate around the district. I mean, we make it known that the safety of our students is the top priority. And so your team, your office plays a huge role, starting with the leadership of Mr. Powell as the director, and then, your office. You talked about getting things organized. I think somebody said it best one time when they say, if you didn't hear anything, that's because we did our job. Correct. When it comes to security, right?
Yes.
And so, and that's so true. A lot takes place behind the scenes when you think about security. When we have just a high school football game, there's so much planning that goes into a high school football game, and we have off-duty officers, we have 8 to 10 security monitors. I mean, we have everything mapped out. We have tree lamps for lighting. We're parking people. We're making sure people are safe. And then you have events like graduation where you have 10,000 people attending, and we have to hire, triple the staff for that. And so, I want the community to know that, that's always at the forefront, in terms of keeping our students safe, keeping our employees safe, and keeping our community safe. And so you guys definitely play a major role. So shout out to our security team out there. You told us about your experience, being a homegrown here, growing up on Santa Maria. By the way, I grew up a few streets north of that on Calle Garcia. And there's just some, there's something about growing up in this community, right? I mean, people deeply care. everybody has major influences, and you know, everybody has that teacher that just really, you know, helped them get through tough times, or helped an individual just believe in themselves, right? Was there that person for you? Was it a teacher, a coach, a counselor, a baker? You know, who was that person for you?
I think it was my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Romero.
Okay.
She was just, you know, she was really, she just her, you know, the way she just talked to you really got you into really liking school even more back then.
So she got you engaged.
She got me
made you feel
engaged,
special.
And then just the different things that she would do in the classroom to get us moving forward. She was just really good about that.
Yeah, and that's what it takes. You know, it's just, gosh, an ounce of confidence goes a long way, right? When we find an ounce of confidence, I mean, we can definitely turn that into something special. And speaking of something special, you know, in your years here at Sunnyside, in Sunnyside District, you know, you've been here, you said 18 years working, but you've been in the community your entire life. Tell me a little bit about how you have seen Sunnyside grow. Like, what changes have you seen? Is it headed in the right direction? Is it not? Is it, you know, what do you see out there that is special, you know, to you? You know, and it can be multiple things. It doesn't have to be one thing. What do you see that's special about Sunnyside?
To me, with Sunnyside has grown so much in the going in the right direction.
And you don't have to say that just because you're speaking to me, right?
No, I'm not saying just because I'm speaking to you.
I'm joking.
I
want the truth.
Yeah, I'm letting you know, hey, this is me talking now. No, the Sunnyside has, I've seen it, back in the 70s when I, started school, 1970. Started back then. Just how it's grown, the community engagement of everything with Sunnyside. It's, I feel, and the more that we keep pushing, the more the district is coming up.
I like where you're going with that.
The district is, I'm trying to get the words in there.
I like the piece where you say, keep pushing.
Yes.
Right? Because we have to want more for our students, right?
Because,
want more for our community.
It is about our students and our community. Because if it wasn't for them, the schools wouldn't be here.
Schools wouldn't exist without students or employees, right?
No, we wouldn't be here. And throughout the years, I've seen, people come and go, families come and go, but it seems like with Sunnyside, somehow everyone keeps coming back. They may leave, but they come back. If it's,
the grass isn't greener, right?
Yes. If it's work, if it's them leave, they're coming back with their kids, their kids coming to school and their kids coming to Sunnyside, or if it's them leaving the district because, they just moved out of the district, but they come back and they're working with the district still.
Yeah, there's something special about the community.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't say this because I'm here leading this district. No. I mean, I grew up here, and there's something special about wanting to give back, right? We all want to give back to the community. I mean, there's people are treated pretty well here, and what I mean by that is, in terms of the student experience, I think a lot of our students feel well taken care of when it comes to how adults treat students, for the most part. I'm not saying we're perfect, but what I'm saying is people feel wanted here, and they have that special feeling when they leave and go out and do things, whether they go to college, go to work, and somehow they find their way back over here, right? And so, it's this attitude of wanting the best for our kids, wanting more for our kids because they deserve it, right?
Right.
They deserve it, and so, so tell us a little bit more about what are things you've seen? Where do you see Sunnyside in the future? I mean, what do you see happening in the future as well?
Well, I see Sunnyside in the future getting bigger. What I see, in the academics, in the, sporting, with the kids in sports and everything, we're having the graduation rate is coming up. It's, this year, Sunnyside had excellent numbers. Desert View had excellent numbers in graduation. I feel that we're getting more kids going to college. Absolutely. And getting those scholarships. There's more scholarships out there for the kids, and our kids are going after these scholarships. And they're leaving Sunnyside, and they're not just going to Pima, which is great. All that's great. Any school they go to once they leave is great, but they're going to, they're going to Harvard. They're going to West Point. They're going to the Navy Academy.
Yeah, we've definitely had some kids.
We've had a lot.
Earn scholarships to some prestigious schools, and so I think for me, when I look at our students and I look at the success of our students, I always ask myself, did we prepare them, right? Did we prepare them? Did they get the right experience here in Sunnyside? It's one goal to graduate, but it's another goal to be prepared to make decisions that follow, whether that be the college route, whether that be the industry route. But I want our kids to have options. I want our kids to be prepared. And I feel good about it. I'm glad you're bringing this up because I think our teachers and counselors in our schools have done an outstanding job of preparing students, right, and making the student experience a positive one. And so we are seeing that. We are seeing what you just said. We have Dorrance Scholars, Gates Millennium Scholars, Dell Scholars, Flynn Scholars, each and every year. And every year we have kids going to very prestigious universities. We have a couple hundred kids that are going to University of Arizona. We have kids going to Pima College, all outstanding institutions. And so that's what it's about. And so, we really have worked hard over the last couple of years providing our students with what they need, right? And sometimes it's not only the academic pieces, but it's also the pieces that surround them, the buildings and the experience in terms of the environment. What's the school environment like? What's the learning environment like? And so talk a little bit about, some of the changes that you've seen over the last couple of years at our sites. What are you noticing?
Well, I'm noticing
as a community member.
As a community member, I'm seeing, more buildings going up in the district. More opportunities for our kids to learn. With the new CTE buildings going up, Desert View got one.
Home health aid building at Desert View.
Sunnyside just got a new
cybersecurity
building. The face of the schools look beautiful.
Right.
But once you get into the schools,
yeah,
that's where
there's some work that needs to be done
inside, and it's not from years of neglect. It's nothing like that because we've kept these schools up. We've kept them running. It's just, you're looking at Sunnyside High School over, 100 years old.
70 years old.
75 years old.
It looks like 100
years old. I don't know, somewhere in that area.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you're bringing this up because, I think, we want to thank our community out there, our voters. In 2023, we passed an override, an M&O override and a capital override. We asked for the bare minimum, and we're doing amazing things with those dollars, and we thank our voters. I mean, you're talking about curbside appeal. You talked a little bit about how the buildings look really good from the outside because that's important. It's important for us to show our taxpayers that we're being fiscally responsible. We're good stewards of the money, and we want kids to feel good when they walk onto campus. So when you have fresh paint, when you have brand new parking lots, when you have nice marquees and that nice fields, they feel good, but there's so much more that needs to be done, and we just don't get funded appropriately from the government, right?
No,
and I'll just put it that way.
And
I'm not lying here, and I'm not bashing the state, but I am a little bit because we're I don't know 48th, 49th in funding and of the 50 states, and it's not enough. So it puts us in a position where we got to go out and ask our community for help, right? And I know our community wants a great experience for our kids. They want our kids to have a great experience, and they want great schools in our community. And to do that, you have to invest in your students, right? You invest in kids, you invest in employees, you invest in schools to have better communities. And so, this November, and I'm sharing some factual information here that's public information. We're going for a bond. It's Proposition 416. And, we're asking the community to support that so we can make those major improvements that you're talking about. I mean, I think the saying is you can only put so much lipstick on a pig, right?
Right.
But on the inside, it's still a pig, right? So I'm sorry to those pig lovers, but it just, Sunnyside High School's the same way. The classrooms and the hallways look the same way when you went there in the 70s. Calling you out, Chris. You're calling out your age. And when I went there in the late 80s, early 90s, it needs work, and it's 70 years old, and it's showing its age, and that's why there's a reason why we got to go for go ask our taxpayers for a bond, and just sharing factual information and is
I talked to my grandson is a sophomore this year at Sunnyside, and last year he was at the freshman academy, which they're a little bit more
more modern, right?
little bit, more modern and everything. And he was asking me, now I'm having to go from building to building to building.
He went from like the mansion to the condo, huh?
Yes. And he asked me, how does it look inside there? How is it? And I told him, well, mijo, I said, the outside looks great. I said, the inside of it still looks like
I know exactly how you feel.
The classrooms still look like when I went to school there. Only thing is they took out the lockers.
Yeah, no more lockers, right?
No more lockers.
Safety issue. So it's funny you say that, because when I was principal at Desert View High School and we built the freshman academies probably about 10, 12 years ago, I would tease our freshman academy principal at the time, may she rest in peace, it was Rosemary Rosas, and I would call freshman academy Club Med, because it was like a cruise over there, You had brand new buildings, brand new furniture, and both high schools have had that. It's neat that both our comprehensive high schools have state of the art, for the most part, freshman academy. CTE, we're funded well in CTE, where we've been able to make some major upgrades, build some new buildings, as we mentioned earlier. But the meat and potatoes of our buildings needs work, right?
Yes.
It needs work, and so our kids deserve it. They go to these beautiful campuses to go play sports. They go for other activities, and they're in awe because they're saying, like, darn, like this is a high school. It looks like a mall. It looks like a college, right?
They're college-looking schools now.
Our kids deserve that, and I'll stick to that. And hopefully, we the most important thing is that people know what they're voting for. People know exactly what this bond will pay for, and we're looking at doing some major renovations at Sunnyside High School, and every school needs renovations. I mean, there's safety and security improvements, athletic and fine arts upgrades that need to take place. This isn't sexy by no means, but we need to replace mechanical issues, plumbing issues. Those are the things behind the scenes that you don't see, behind the walls, on the roof, underground, and of course we need buses and transportation and technology and some of those things. And so once again, it's all for kids. It's all for kids.
All for the kids.
And so I want to thank you for coming on the show, for being a champion for the Sunnyside community, for the Sunnyside School District. I don't think I've ever heard a negative word about Chris Higgins. I mean, I think everybody loves Chris Higgins, and everybody will continue to love Chris Higgins. And what you get is authenticity. What you get is someone that is genuine. somebody that just deeply cares about the people of this community. And so I want to thank you for being a champion.
Thank you.
Of our community. And
I
know there's...
love this community, and this is my community. This is my schools. I'm here for the kids, and the kids are what makes it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree.
That's what makes
more.
Sunnyside.
And you're right. That's exactly what makes Sunnyside.
I brought my two children, are adults now. Mm-hmm. They both graduated from Sunnyside. One in 2009, the other one in 2012. Both went on to the university. My son is now the U of A wheelchair basketball head coach.
Awesome. They
just won their first championship this past year. Next year, they'll be hosting at the U of A the wheelchair championship the U of A at McKell. And my daughter's in PR at Desert Museum, working there.
Oh, nice. And there you have it. You know, Sunnyside kids graduating and doing some great things for the community. And so, you know, as we wrap up here, you know, I want to, again, thank you for being on the show. I want to thank our listeners for actively engaging. We'd love to hear your comments on future show ideas. And you know, we do this for one reason. We do this to tell our story, to highlight what's going on here in Sunnyside. So, you know, with that, this wraps up this episode of Somos Sunnyside. Hasta la próxima. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Somos Sunnyside. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and found it entertaining. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and share our podcast with la comunidad. For updates on future episodes and more, be sure to follow us on social media and visit our website at susd12.org. We appreciate your support and can't wait to have you back for the next episode. Hasta la próxima vez en Somos Sunnyside.